Hey, what is up, guys? So, today I'm going to be tearing down my original Xbox One from 9 years ago. So, this Xbox has been opened just once for an HDMI replacement and for a Wi-Fi card replacement. And this is the first time in 4 years that I'll be opening it to clean out the old dried out thermal paste that has been sitting in the same place for about 8 to 9 years. So, firstly, the initial part is that to open the cover or the outer cover of this Xbox is really hard and you really have to struggle. As you can see, I've sped up this video just so that it becomes faster. Now once we open the front part of the Xbox, there are a few things to take care of, such as a few connectors and this front display wire that controls the touch feedback of the power button. Once you disconnect that, you're good to remove the cover. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the front board connector. And for that, you just need to pull out the connector. Don't pull on the actual connector itself, but pull on the plug that connects to it. Now there's one more Wi-Fi antenna that goes to the front, and disconnect the other Wi-Fi antenna that goes to the back. So now this is the Wi-Fi card. Basically, if you want to upgrade it, you can just to swap out this card. Make sure to disconnect the other one too. This connector just pops out from the slot. So now we're going to go ahead and change a screw bit for a Tox head. And now we're going to go ahead and remove all the screws from this Xbox because there are quite a lot. And these screws will not get misplaced with the other screws since they are really long and very difficult to miss. Make sure to also remove those two smaller screws at the side. As you can see, we are in the internals of the Xbox One. Here we have to disconnect one additional connector that connects to the back side of the Wi-Fi card. We disconnect this one connector and then the plate can come out in the front. Now firstly we're going to go ahead and disconnect the CD-ROM. Then we're going to go ahead and disconnect the hard drive. That is the 5 gig hard drive from WD. Now we can just go ahead and remove this whole metal tray that comes. Then next, if you want, we can go ahead and remove this front board. It's not very necessary to remove the front board, but I'm removing it just to check it out. Now we're going to go ahead and flip the tray upside down, and those four screws are what hold the fan in place. And we also need to remove these screws so that we can lift the motherboard out from the metal tray. As you can see, here too there are quite a lot of screws, and some of these screws are longer and shorter than the other one, so make sure to keep track of them while reassembling. Now we're going to go ahead and flip the Xbox One, and this is one design that I really hate about the original Xbox One fans, is that it has a clip instead of traditional screws. So you have to be really careful about this and not damage the motherboard. But as for me, you have to just lift on the edge part and from two sides, and then it comes out relatively easily. And make sure to hold the fan in place. For me, the fan didn't come out because the thermal paste was so dried up, so it held itself in place. So as you can see, this thermal paste has almost dried up, and it hasn't been cleaned since the last 8 years, and it's become into a powder. So now we're going to go ahead and remove off all this dried out thermal paste. As you can see, it's really satisfying to watch the removal of this dried out thermal paste. So here you go. Now we're going to go ahead and clean the fan as well. And as you can see, we have a traditional 3 copper heat pipe heat dissipation for the fan. And from here too, we need to make sure to remove the old dried out thermal paste. And once again, it's satisfying to watch. Now we're going to go ahead and clean out the heat vents as well as we're going to dust out the fan itself, both from the front side and from the back side. Now we're going to apply some C14 Sub-Zero thermal paste, and this is a new thermal paste that I've been trying out, and let's see how the temperatures are from this one. So I'm going to make sure there's the perfect amount of thermal paste. And according to me, this is like the perfect amount of thermal paste, just an X across the whole chip and spreads out evenly. So now we're going to go ahead and connect everything back together, starting with the fan and placing the motherboard into the metal tray. Also at this point, you need to be very careful as to which connector goes where and which screws goes where. Mainly the screws, because some are shorter and some are smaller. So after we're done with the fans and the CD-ROM and the hard disk, which is the easiest part, next we need to move on to the screws, like I said, which is really difficult. So make sure to not forget to put this front board in place and snug it in. After that, we can place the metal tray into the plastic housing, and we can put this top metal shielding on top of it. Once again, checking to make sure all the connectors are plugged in and all the screws are put into the right place. Next, we can go ahead and reattach a Wi-Fi card back into its slot. And don't forget to reattach the Wi-Fi antennas. Now we can go ahead and close our box and just give it a good hard push inside. And once again, don't forget to connect this front haptic feedback connector and snug it in. And this is also one really hard part, but I found it really easy to first remove this front piece and then attach the rest of the plastic housing. And lastly, not forgetting to attach this controller connector. And there you go, done.